Hello everyone and welcome back to more FE6 Death Roulettes with Danny. Say hi.
Oh, hello. How are you?
Doing well. Gosh, I wish I had another really good sword unit for dealing with these axe enemies.
Oh, you mean like a cavalier? Like maybe if you had another cavalier who could use swords potentially, or like a mercenary.
Yeah.
Or, ooh. You know what I think of when I think of sword units actually. So Fire Emblem Engage has this early game mage that you can reclass to a sword master because his strength growth is higher than his magic. And every guide in the world says to do that, even though it's a bad idea.
Yeah. God, I wish I had one of those right about now. This game is really missing the missing an Ogma archetype. You know, the early mercenary you get.
Don't. I took psychic damage from you saying the phrase Ogma archetype. I took psychic damage from you saying the phrase Ogma archetype. Don't make me go on a fucking archetypes rant. Don't do it, because I will do it.
It sounds like you already are.
Jaken is an archetype. S is an archetype. Goto is an archetype. And Trainee is arguably an archetype, at the very least in newer Fire Emblems. And like, there's some examples older, like Ross, and then a couple others. But everything else, if an archetype can be thoroughly described by just naming a class, then it's not an archetype, because it's not actually saving you time. If you're saying Merrick instead of Mage, just say Mage. Merrick isn't an archetype. It just is Mage. It's just Mage. And like, so many fucking fake art. So every archetype that you're like, that there's like a contentious, oh, well, is this person actually a member of that archetype? That's a sign that the archetype is fake. Like, you know, all the debates about who's the true Navarre of FE7? Because is it Guy? Because he has a killing edge in his inventory? Or is it Raven? Because he's a red unit? How about it's neither? One's just a fucking red unit mercenary, and one's just a fucking red unit Myrmidon. I'm losing my mind. Because earlier today, someone made a joke. Okay, earlier today, someone made a joke. And I don't fault the person who made this joke because it's a funny joke, right? Someone made a joke that Lyndon is a Navarre archetype because he's a red unit with a crit-based skill. And I'm like, that's funny. That's genuinely funny, right? And then someone responded by saying, you know, I've never thought about it, but you have a good point. I think you're right. And I wanted to fucking jump into my phone and strangle them.
No,
anyway,
like
hi, how are you? By going on a rant like that, so here's the game in the algorithm, though. By going on a rant like that, I've guaranteed that you're going to get a ton of engagement with people commenting about various bad archetypes. So you're welcome.
True.
You're welcome. Sometimes it plays to like to have a thing that you do not like about the Fire Emblem community because it gets engagement. I thought you were gonna drop her on the mountain right there. No dodge tank Ellen. Oh, speaking of dodge tank, are we gonna do the Chad strat?
I think. So you just.
If we do the Chad strat, do you know the Chad strat?
I know it's like you leave him on a mountain or something, or on a fort for a bajillion turns, and he just never dies.
Check those bandits. I don't think they're... or brigands, I guess, is what they are. Are there any that have hand axes yet? Yeah, okay. So there's a couple with hand axes. They're gonna go over the peaks.
Yeah.
The idea is the brigands that have hand axes will have 0 hit on Chad if he's on one of the mountains. And the ones with steel axes have like 1 hit if he's on the mountain. So what you do is you kill the ones that have, like the ones at melee range, because they have like 1 hit on him. I think it's between 1 and 10. It's a low enough number that like it's Iron Man safe to do, basically. And then the hand axes have literal 0. So as long as he's the only person in range, they will constantly attack him and you can get him to level 20. And like, it's degenerate, and the payoff is a moderately, like, okay-ish sword block unit. It's not, I will say, it's not worth doing in vanilla play, And it's not even worth doing in an Iron Man, but it's fun to do in an Iron Man.
It's funny, and that's what matters.
So I do think that given the constraints you've put yourself under, it's absolutely worth doing here. I will say this, out of consideration for the audience, you should probably like do all of the map, like have Chad there, right, with his animations off. Do all of the map, and then you're going to have to hit end turn a bunch of times to train him up. You should do that portion off camera with speed up.
I don't think I'm gonna commit all the way up to like level 20 or something, but I might just let him fight these guys until he gets a couple levels, and then that'll be
Coward. You should. So here's why it's actually optimal to get him to 20. Because you're gonna spin the wheel and it's gonna land on him.
So true.
After you get into 20, and then you can make fucking content moment.
And then I can be upset that I can't open chest next map. Nice crit. I should have equipped the killing edge on him previous turn, but eh.
Genuine question: who would you be more upset about the wheel rolling this turn, Chad or Rutger?
It's actually kind of difficult.
Because, like, Chad, yes, you do miss out on, like, 6 chests, right? But you have a door key, so you don't miss Sue, right? You have the door key from last map? So you don't miss Sue.
I will be upset about missing out on the Killer Axe and the second Silver Lance.
Yeah.
Because I do use those a lot. The money is kind of cool, but I'm really looking forward to the Killer Lance.
Yeah. The
Killer Axe.
The Killer Axe and Silver Lance are like the only reason that Chad has value in a draft setting, right? Like, because in a draft setting, you're only getting one thief. And I like getting a Stolfo. Like, personally, I prefer a Stolfo to Chad because I like having just a flunky for the Western Isles. But Chad's big draw is like you get the Silver Lance. You get the money too. The money is nice in a draft setting, but like
yeah, there's definitely some money to be had, and it's nice to have it.
How much money is it? It's like I feel like it's like almost 10,000, right? Maybe
it's
more
somewhere around that. I want to say it's around 7,000 or 8,000 altogether, because I think there's a chest with 5 and a chest with 3. But maybe there's also a chest with 2, because I also feel like I remember a chest with 2.
I feel like I remember a chest with 5 and a chest with 25, like 2,500, not 25,000.
Could be.
So it's like 7,500, but I don't know. If only there were a website that contained this information.
Yeah.
Let me go to fandom.com/Fire Emblem.
That always has the correct information.
I genuinely wonder, like, if an unintended... I'll be a little bit upset, but a little bit, like... I don't know whether I would be upset or happy, actually, if, like, an unintended side effect of this series was that the fandom wiki got, like, fixed by one of our viewers. Because on the one hand, like, fandom is, like, a shitty company. There's, like... I'm not, like, super, like... aware of all of the issues, but there are issues with it. Like, a bunch of people have made videos about, like, fandom is shitty, right?
From what
and
I've
it's
heard.
not just, like, the Fire Emblem fandom. Like, this isn't just like fandom stabbed Kaga in the dick or something. Like, fandom does shitty things, and, like, a lot of different, like, video game fandoms, anime fandoms, like, have had people speak out on, like, why fandom is bad. I'm just not super, like, familiar with it because... I don't know. Like, if I hear a corporation is bad, it doesn't take too much for me to be like, yeah, that's probably true. If a lot of people say that this corporation is bad, I'm not going to go to bat for them, right? Like, yeah. I'm already like really fucking socialist. I am not going to go to bat for fandom.com. But on the other hand, it does suck that, like, the most common resource for Fire Emblem information is just, like, not even that, like, the advice they give is bad, because that's subjective. Like, we can say all day, like, oh, well, this is really bad advice. And I believe that the majority of the advice given on fandom is bad. But at the end of the day, that is subjective, right? It's not, like, an objective thing. You can't prove that it's bad, right? You can prove that Lugh's death quote being under possible endings is an error. I mean, it is a possible ending in quotation marks, right? Like, that's the joke, right? That's the joke. Is well, it's the ending he got in this playthrough. but like, okay. What was it? Oh, I mean, even just like the sentence structure, right? Like, it's a bunch of run-on sentences that often have repeated words. Like, so I have a stutter that comes out when I get like exaggerated and escalated and stuff, right? None of the repeated words in any of my fandom readings have been the result of my stutter. They're all just that the fandom articles are constantly saying, like, Deike has a sword. That's a bit of an exaggeration, but, like, it's way closer than it should be, right? Like, I don't know.
The one thing I ever go to the site for is they have really high-res images that I can use for stuff, and... Oh, wow.
I use them for thumbnails.
Roy doubles this guy and Alan doesn't. What a world.
Wait. Check their speed stats.
9 and 8.
What level is Roy?
5.
I gotta do some investigating. We don't even have any speed rings, right? So it's like,
yeah, we didn't even have access to a speed wing or anything.
Roy's 5, you said?
Yep.
According to my calculations, he's only 1 point of speed ahead of average.
Okay.
Not even that. It's 8.6 is the average. So like it's possible he would have gotten one. He just rolled, you know.
He just
it's
happened
one of those situations, right? Where I don't even necessarily say that he's a point ahead. Just that, like, you know, he won the coin flip, right?
Yeah, he won the coin toss to get the extra point.
Like, if a character has a 50% growth and they're level 2 and they got 1 point in it, I wouldn't say they're ahead of average. I'd say they won the coin flip, right? It's basically when they, like, get to level 5 and they've gained 4 points in it, then I'm like, okay, well, you're ahead of average now.
Yes.
But that's the funny thing about averages, though, right? Is, like, everyone likes to talk about, like, blessed and cursed units, but if you use them long enough turn, most of the time, the averages will even out, right? Like, I had a super blessed Sue in my draft run that I did with you, and, like, that resulted in me using her and going to Sakai as a result. But, like, by the time I got to Sakai, she'd hit average again, because that's just sort of how the law of statistics goes.
Yeah, it eventually evens itself out given a large enough time you're using the unit.
Also, I haven't really commented on the gameplay because I got too, like, archetype brained, but you're doing very well for, like, missing some of the better units. I would consider this one of the harder early game chapters, right? Like, everyone likes to talk about Chapter 7 and Chapter 4, but, like, Chapter 5 is Chapter 5 is not a breather chapter.
This one can be pretty tricky. Although, to be fair, I'm usually fighting these nomads right here at this point, and I'm still all the way back over here. I've just kind of used these forts to kind of hold up right here.
Yeah. I mean, I like to punch ahead as well, but I think the Iron Man strategy is to use the forts because it's safer. Like, yes, you will end up getting hit from the brigands from behind, but you can do the Chad thing.
Yeah.
And that mostly distracts them. And if you take so long that, like, the brigands get you even with Chad on the mountain, I think you just missed a couple of too many, like, bad hit rates.
Yeah. Which, luckily, we have Rutger here to help.
Rutger and Roy. Roy has a 99 on that guy, which I know, you know, axe fighter, sword. Well, that's good. That's good because he's the only unit you can guarantee. Like, how many stat boosters is Roy going to get? Genuine question.
Quite a bit of them, I imagine. I already gave him the first Angel Robe during the first little bit here.
I didn't even question that because, like, the last vanilla playthrough I did of FE6 was an Iron Man. And, like, I think that giving Roy the robe, at least the first robe, is, like, just the correct thing to do in an Iron Man setting. Especially
since Chapter 7 exists.
Yeah. And double especially because, like, you know, I'm not the best Fire Emblem player, right? I know that, like, there's definitely going to be some people who talk about, like, no, you don't give Roy the robe. Like, FE6 is an easy game. What the fuck are you talking about? Because apparently we're at that level of, like, the difficulty discourse where just every game is easy now. But,
I think we'll hold up here one more turn.
I find FE6 to be a difficult game. You know, is it the hardest? No. Like, there's certainly harder. There's, like, you know, Fates, Awakening. The modern games are harder, right? But, like...
It is definitely pretty tricky.
It's also just, like, what you find difficult is going to vary, right? Like,
Of course.
I think that Shadow Dragon Hard 5 is a game that I probably have less of a hard time with than FE6. But I can absolutely see someone else having more of a hard time with it, especially someone who's more cautious to like warp, like hesitant to warp skip, right?
Yeah.
Because like part of how you trivialize that game is like forges and warps, and like there's other ways to trivialize it too. I guess the thing is that Shadow Dragon, if you're not doing any of the trivializations, is probably harder. But also, I don't know how you engage with that game without trivializing it, right? Like,
I
just because you're not warp skipping doesn't mean you're not cheesing, right? Like the General Sedgar Wolf is
that's definitely
another
a pretty common one.
Yeah, I would call that a form of cheese, because what you're doing is you're training a unit to have high enough defense that no one deals any damage to them, right?
And then it just doesn't matter anymore.
Yeah, and then at that point, your level of engagement on the map is how many mages are there? Let me kill them. Not that that's an invalid way to play. Like, when I say cheese, I don't mean like that's an invalid way to play. Don't get it twisted.
Oh, yeah, yeah.
Cheese is
gosh,
awesome.
Marcus.
Ooh.
That's not an important miss or anything, but...
I mean, it always feels bad to miss a 95. My, oh my god. My, So I was playing for another series that's gonna go up soon. I was playing a map earlier, and I was looking at like I'm very late in the map. I didn't want to have to reset. I'm looking at like the attacks to get rid of a really dangerous enemy, and I was like, okay, ooh, nice. This actually fits in very well with the story I'm telling, the 2% crit. Wait, no, 2% crit and 47. Oh my god.
Yeah, that was a sub 50 hit, and we got it.
That's ridiculous. That's ridiculous. I need to do the math on that. Hold on, I need to do the math on that. It was 46 2RN and then 2 1RN, right?
Yes.
Okay, so GBA RN calcs.
I love using lot so much.
Okay, 46 displayed is 42.78%. So then 2%. Wait, how do I? 40%,
you multiply them together,
and then it's times 2%. So that was a 0.8% chance of occurring.
Easy. Just hit lol.
That's ridiculous. That's ridiculous.
Still, one of the luckiest lineups I ever had was in the FE7 playthrough I did. I got several like single-digit crits and about 50% hits in a row. I got 3 in a row, and it looked like a triangle attack almost. It was really funny.
I love triangle attacks. Speaking of which, Boris has not been spun yet. I can't help but notice that. Are we thinking that perhaps some triangles might be in the future?
I can definitely foresee some triangles in the future, because otherwise I don't know how I'm killing... Gosh, he's such an important boss, I can't remember his name.
The Chapter 8 boss?
Yeah, the Chapter 8 boss.
You could kill him with Alina. You need to train a mage.
I do.
Like, now that you don't have Lugh. Now that you don't have... I'm going to trigger some people, but now that you don't have the better mage...
Ooh.
I'm not a fan of either of the mages long-term, TBH. So that's probably why I think Lugh is better, is like, because he's around for the period of time that I actually value having a mage. But also, like, you don't have to do a stupid training arc in Chapter 8 for him. And I know that Lilina has bonkers busted magic, but unless she gets, like, all of the speed wings, she's not doubling, in which case Lugh is dealing more damage, right? Like, if you're doubling and dealing 4 less damage, you're dealing more damage.
Yeah. Oh, nice level.
We got magic. She's gonna be... Wait, she can be our mage. Cecilia, move over. Cecilia, move over. We just got magic on our first Clarine level up. She's gonna be our mage. Combat, don't knock it till you try it. I've never tried it, so I'm just gonna pretend that it's viable.
You're speaking of viable, we're just gonna put marks of the Silver Lance right here.
That seems like a good strategy. That seems like the best strategy for taking on these maps.
Also, I really want to get Roy supported up with Marcus for sure. I didn't have time to get supports last map, but
yeah, because you had to like retreat from all the reinforcements. Be careful with that Silver Lance because it might be your only one for Chapter 7. Wait, no, Zealot starts with one, doesn't he? Does Zealot start with one?
He actually doesn't. He starts with a pretty garbage inventory.
Maybe I just think of it because I give him the one from Chapter 6.
Yeah.
So they both have one?
My inventory for Roy and starting that map is the Rapier, and then a bunch of items I want to trade on to Jarrett.
Yeah, that makes sense. That makes sense. I think that's probably what I do too. I love that face, by the way.
Me too.
Oh my god. I love that silly little goofy goober face.
Speaking of goofy
are you just
goober,
blocking the forts?
I'm probably just gonna block the forts. Those guys are
But yeah,
scary.
with Chad at risk of death, we now know, or rather, we don't know if that Silver Lance is going to be the only one for Chapter 7. And, like, that's not to say, like, don't use it, right? Obviously use it. It's very useful. But, like, don't recklessly use it, I guess. I think that the hoarding is a pitfall thing, right? Has, like, led to some people overcorrecting and just being like, I'll just blow my fucking everything all over the place. Like, just... What's that? Hoarding is a pitfall. I'm gonna use this Silver Lance on a Chapter 1 soldier. And double and kill them.
Yep. I feel like there's been a lot of overcorrection and a lot of things, and now we're trying to uncorrect it.
Mm-hmm. Well, but then you risk, like, the pendulum swinging in the other direction, right? Like, every time, like, as I was saying, like, you know, be careful about that Silver Lance. Like, what flashed before my eyes is someone being like, I need to have a 20-use Silver Lance in Chapter 7. No, you don't. Like, you probably want it to kill some wyverns, right? Like, you probably want at least 5 uses to kill some wyverns or some shit, right? You don't need it to be full durability, but you probably want it to exist.
Yes. I don't want this guy to exist, though.
Yeah, no, you're really good at making mercenaries not exist.
Too true. Okay, I think I'm gonna let this guy run forwards a little bit. Let's get clearing out of the way. Because I don't want to engage this fighter and mercenary at the same time. Actually, I think I'll let...
Engage!
That's the name of the game.
No, that's the name of a different game.
Oh, okay.
That's not this game.
Oh, why don't we
That's
just...
a different one. That one also has Roy in it, though.
It sure does.
Is Shanna gonna be okay?
Oh yeah, we're gonna...
Oh, it's a hand axe dude. Oh, we're cantoing. Okay.
1, 2...
Oh, you're buying door keys. Why are you buying door keys?
Because I hate hauling Chad up and down that map.
Well, but you don't have chest keys, so you still have to haul Chad up and down that map.
I do, but it just saves me a turn. Like, it's 50 gold and it saves an action on Chad.
That's fair enough. That's fair enough, I guess.
And
they are useful for Chapter 7, that treasure room too, if like you don't want to deploy Chad for whatever reason.
Yep, it'll give me...
Or, no, you have to.
Yeah, there's a stealable
Well, I guess
red
you don't.
gem.
There's buyable chest keys.
So,
yeah, there's the stealable red gem that I always forget about.
The funny thing about Chapter 7 coming up is, by doing the math, I believe my entire roster is getting fielded in Chapter 7.
I mean, that's pretty based.
So
the question is, who is your entire roster going to be?
That's what I'm curious to find out, and I can't wait because Sue and Dorothy are going to be safe because of their joining map, so we're going to have at least 2 bow units.
Okay. I have a proposal.
Uh-huh.
If he survives, you should bench Rutger next map.
That's the plan.
Okay, okay. I'm glad we're on the same page. I'm glad we're on the same page. You need to conserve his durability. You need to hoard your Rutger.
There is a chance I will be going into the next map without full deployment, just because I want to keep people... I want to assure that some units are alive for next map.
Wait. We have successfully simulated Thracia fatigue in GBA.
Basically, yes.
That's so goddamn base.
It's
That's
actually kind
so
of cool.
based. I love that.
Oh, this run, if I didn't do a Wheel of Death, I was thinking about doing a sort of self-imposed fatigue. Oh wow, nice strength. Where units couldn't be fielded more than 2 or 3 maps in a row.
I've been thinking about doing, I don't know what game it would be, but doing an Iron Man where I can only deploy, other than force deployeds, I can only deploy the lowest leveled units, and promoted is considered plus 20.
Oh, I've thought about doing something like that too. It sounds really fun.
And the reason I would want it to be an Iron Man is I can kill units off if I want to, like let's say it was Sacred Stones, right? And I'm just like, I want to use Seth. Let's kill off a fuck ton of people so that Seth numbers amongst the lowest level, right? But then the risk reward becomes like, you know, it probably wouldn't work in Sacred Stones because, like, it is worth killing off a fuck ton of units to field Seth, but, like, maybe it's not worth killing off a fuck ton of units to field Marcus in FE6, right?
Because I might want those
so
units.
The risk reward becomes like, okay, we kill off, like, units who could be replacements for the Iron Man in exchange for being able to bring stronger forces, right? And
systematically
then
killing off your units.
And then, like, trying to train people on join. If there's, like, a unit you don't want to use, but you don't want to kill them off, trying to train them on join so that they're not forced to get lugged around. Like Lilina, trying to train Lilina on join so that she's at the very least, like, not forced for the Western Isles.
Yes.
But it would probably end up, like, looking very similar to this, so I wouldn't do... Like, the reason I'm thinking FE6 is that's the game that's currently in front of me, but I probably wouldn't do that. Also because I suck at Iron Manning FE6.
FE6 is
so that's
tricky.
the other reason.
Especially early on.
That was an important miss, right?
Kind of. I can just run up and heal him.
Yeah, because that's a safe square. That's a safe square, yes. Is he gonna be okay versus Nomad and Merc? I think he is, right?
He should be. Oh, we got another magic.
She got
one.
magic. Forget Lugh.
Look at her.
Ellen
go.
and Clarina are mages now. That's
Okay.
that's
Nomad is
the.
within reach. Ooh, I am afraid of brigands showing up here in a sec. We'll cross that bridge when I
What
reach
turn
it.
is it? I can look up
It's
reinforcements.
turn 12, and I'm all the way back here. Oh my gosh.
Well, you had to play it slow and steady because you didn't have any Deike.
True.
FEWD. I know WD is more reliable than fandom, but I do need to, like, go on my soapbox about how there's no good wiki. There's just ones that are bad in different ways.
Oh, I found out what turn the reinforcements show up.
Is it this turn?
Yeah.
I'm alt tabbed out, but I assume it's this turn. Oh, I just heard a death.
Oh, nice.
Tell me that's a red unit death, right?
Yes.
Okay,
It is
good.
very dead. Rutger's getting a level up. Ooh, and he got strength. That's nice.
Wow, look at this bad unit, only getting 4 stats on level up.
Oh my gosh.
Is today the day that we stop pretending Butker is good?
Don't say it, or else the wheel might think it.
I want the wheel to think it. I want the wheel to not kill him as a result of that. So it'll be every turn until turn 15, 2 bandits will appear from the leftmost forts.
Cool. I can.
And
deal with
then
that.
starting on turn 15, 2 bandits will appear from the forts that you have Boars and Merlinus occupying.
Okay, so those are safe then.
And then these are the gate reinforcements. Armory, there's no armory. Store, it says the store prices. Okay, yeah. I'm pretty sure this is accurate. I know FEWD has some incorrect information because I had to reset a chapter in Awakening 0% growths because it lied to me about the reinforcement turns.
Which is weird, because for Awakening Reinforcements turns, you just say that it's every turn, and you'll probably be right.
Well, actually, and I learned this recently, Awakening Reinforcements are actually the same turns every map.
Really?
Like, not even joking. They happen on the same turns every map. You want to know how I'm aware of this?
How so?
So I saw it on a Reddit post. So no good sentence that has ever started with that. But there was a Reddit post where someone was trying to argue that anyone who says Awakening's ambush spawns are bad is bad at Fire Emblem. And their argument was, you, the player, should be aware that the ambush spawns are coming because they're the same turn every map. And it's like, Like,
I
the
would've
issue with
never
ambush
picked up on
spawns is
that.
not. The issue with ambush spawns is not that they're unfair when you are aware of them, right? Like, you shouldn't have to have a FEWD page pulled up in order to make the map play fair.
Yes.
Right? Make sure you don't kill that brigand, by the way.
Yeah.
So that's Chad's experience machine.
I think we're gonna have to pull back because these mercenaries walked in an awkward way where Marcus could only counter one of them.
Yeah, that is a little bit awkward. Like, the issue with ambush spawns isn't that they're frustrating to deal with when you're aware of them. Because if you're aware of them, right, if you know exactly where they spawn and when, then they basically just become, like, something you know you have to deal with but can't player face, right?
1, 2, 3, 4, 5.
The issue is that when playing blind, they just catch you off guard and kill you, right? Like,
Yeah.
it's one of the reasons why, like, I think incorrectly people say, like, don't bother using Olivia even if they realize that dancers are good, because she'll just die to ambush spawns, right? Like,
1, 2, 3, 4, 5.
yeah, so that's safe, that's safe. Is Marcus okay? He has the Silver Lance, right? So
Yeah, he has the Silver Lance.
Weapon Triangle and Forest. Can the Brigands reach him?
He is gonna
One of
get
them
whacked by
can.
one of them, but I think he'll be fine. He's also in Roy support range. It's only a C support, but it's
It's enough, though. It'll give him a point of defense, right?
something like
Fire
that.
Ice?
It's a little bit of a void too.
Or, wait, Fire doesn't give defense, so it's
Oh, there it's
not
all
a point
offense.
of
That's right.
defense. Well, so Ice is Marcus. Does Marcus have Ice in this, or is that just FE7?
I believe he has ice in this too.
Okay, I know he has Ice in FE7 because, like, that's one of the reasons why Mark is, like, what month you make Mark born in is actually a tactical decision. And, like, Hawkeye, Marcus, and I think Pent? No, Raven all have Ice affinity. So, like, yes, it's only 5 hit and avoid, but
Ooh, strength.
3 of the best units in the game having a shared affinity with each other just sort of makes it... I actually want to see who has Ice affinity in FE7, because, like, I think it's an incredibly stacked list. Ice affinity FE7.
I
Oh,
know.
no.
Mine is Thunder affinity. Because I was born in December.
Okay, in the Blazing Blade, Nils, Marcus, Raven, Legault, Ninian, Pent, and Jafar. Okay, so not Hawkeye, but Pent. So yeah, those are some very good units who have Ice affinity.
Wow.
What's Hawkeye's then? Thunder? But yeah, Ice gives 0.5 defense, but Fire is the one that gives offense. So at B support, it'll be 1 attack, 1 defense. But as of right now, it's just like a little bit of evasion, a little bit of hit.
Oh, that's
You're not getting any huge gains at C, but like it does mean that you'll get both offense and defense at B, which is nice because it's rare to get a pairing. Is it even possible to? Yeah, there is an affinity that gives both offense defense, right? Like, and so if both people have that affinity, then you can get a point of each.
I believe
It's
there is. I
C.
just can't remember.
I just
what
don't remember
it
which
is.
one it is. Let me look up the affinities. Okay, original 7. Okay, light affinity is light and anima are both attack and defense.
Oh my gosh, it's
And
horrible.
okay, so light is attack, defense, hit, and crit, and anima is attack, defense, evasion, and crit evasion. And yeah, so I think light and anima are probably the 2 most sought after affinities. And fire's nice. I like it being all offense, right? Like hit, crit, and attack.
Just go for
just-
it.
I think light and anima are probably the best ones, though. Like being able to get, maybe I undervalue hit supports, because I do know that like the more I play Fire Emblem, and especially 0% growth, the more I value like things that can increase your hit. Because when your skill isn't growing naturally, it's like, oh, I actually care about being able to hit things. Oh, I have good news and bad news.
What's that?
Lilina's affinity is light, which is one of the ones that I said is the best one.
Yeah, that's pretty useful.
Yeah. I mean, I knew that it was a affinity that granted attack because in the LTC, like that's why she's used in LTC, right? Is it's the only support that you can like actually feasibly get in LTC, and it gives attack, so you can do bolting stuff.
And you can get it really quickly with Roy.
Yeah, well, it's the only one you can get. Like in an LTC setting, you're not getting any other supports, right?
Yeah.
Like, because you're not support grinding, and I guess theoretically, over the course of an entire campaign, Alan and Lance could reach C support, but I don't think they both get used in an LTC, and even if they did, I don't think they both end. I don't think they end turns near each other enough to get it, right?
Nah, no way.
Like I actually don't know what the turn floor is for FE6, but I imagine it's like possible that someone could get a fast pair from Chapter 1, which would just be Alan and Lance, right? Or maybe Marcus and Roy, could get C support, but like won't feasibly because they just don't get fielded.
And enough near each other.
Yeah. Well, because I know you said you were able to get B support by Chapter 3, so it's fast enough that it has to be within 100, or it has to be within 50 turns to get C, right?
It's the support cap isn't turn based. It's point based.
Yeah, but each point is over a single turn.
It's something.
I know
like
it's
that.
not. I know it's not like FE4 where you just stop gaining them after turn 4, but it does still mean that like